Welcome to Life in Sport. I'm Tariq, and this is where the stories of sport, struggle, and self-discovery come together. Because behind every game, there's a life being lived. Yes, people, welcome back to Life in Sport. Here in Dubai, in the studio, and I've got a great guest who's been established in the football leagues before making the move down here, who has really gone on a journey. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell us a bit about who they are and what they're about.
So cheers for having me on. First and foremost, my name's Ben Pringle. I've played in the UK for was there for about 18 years, and then made the move to Dubai in August 2003. I signed for Fleetwood United, which is the UAE version of Fleetwood Town from the UK.
Is that the Jamie Vardy's team?
Yeah, Jamie Vardy's team, yeah.
Okay.
It was a very kind of unique story. So I made the jump in August 2003, and then, been here since, now playing for Precision Football Club, which again is a unique story in itself, with a lot of older EFL and Premier League players kind of in one place. So it's a mad place, but it's a one that's, on the up, basically.
Of course. So let's get into a little bit of let me do my icebreaker actually. So I'll start with a bit of reflection, which is, so I'm switching it up a tiny bit. So it's name one good thing that's happened this week.
Oh, what a question that is. The event that we did, working football event, that was when was that? Not last night?
Tuesday,
night before?
yeah.
Tuesday, sick event, the first one in the UAE. So it's something that is needed, especially in the football world. So that was something I really enjoyed, and it was good to be a part of.
You're the second person in a row to say that today, which speaks volumes of the event and James's work. So context. Working football is run by a young man called James Cox. So check it out. It was a great event. And second part of that question is, how did you make it happen? I guess going to that event and enjoying it. How did you make that happen?
I think I'd been speaking to James for probably since February. So I'd never actually met him until Tuesday night. And then we'd been chatting quite a lot. So it was good to obviously finally meet him, and he's helped me a lot over the last couple of months with obviously what I've set up recently. So it was just a good event to be a part of, and obviously it was a really good venue. Yeah,
it was definitely a great meeting of minds, and seeing people with different experiences and different capabilities, and being in a room around all that knowledge. There was definitely a lot to gain for everyone. So let's start from the beginning of your journey kind of thing. So obviously you came through at West Brom. So at the time you were playing there, let's touch a little bit on academy life and what that was like, and the pressures. And
it was tough, something I really struggled with to begin with. Moved away from Newcastle, which was my home, when I was 15. So the homesickness and living away was very, very tough indeed. And I struggled the first probably 6 months, to be honest. That was really tough, and just living away from home in general took a lot to get used to, basically.
How much did that affect you, on the pitch, or not on the pitch, but around the ground with your teammates and with people you were involved with? Yeah,
it's tough because you're obviously, fighting every day, trying to impress people and progress. So I've always said, even now, the players, they've got to be, happy off the pitch as well as on the pitch. And if you're not happy off the pitch, that is a massive effect to players. And it can affect them when they're trying to perform on it. So I definitely think that it's linked, and experiences later on in life have shown when I'm happy off the pitch, I play my best football on it. So there's definitely a lot of that in the first 6 months where I was kind of unhappy.
So what is a happy Ben all round? not like I mean a happy enough Ben to play, but what's a settled Ben that will make you maybe perform better? Happy's a bit strong.
I think just taking out all kind of not negative thoughts, but not thinking about it too much, and just kind of rolling with each day as it comes, training, matches. in my younger days when I was playing the best football of my career at Rotherham, that was it. I was enjoying my time off the pitch, and I think that translated onto the pitch, and I had a really successful time at Rotherham, and I got my move to Fulham after those days at Rotherham. So yeah, I definitely think that, like I say, it's something that isn't probably spoken about enough. But yeah, certainly for me, it's all related on the pitch and off the pitch.
100%. And I think there's so much pressure on young academy players. I think it's quite understated, the pressure of not just being footballers but growing up as people and developing your own identity, settling in, finding your own path. But then you're in a highly competitive environment where, people that you're teammates with. I'm speaking. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, it's bang on. Like you say, you're in a high pressured situation. The competitiveness is sky high. You've got players, your mates off the pitch, but then you're going onto it and you're against them in terms of, they want your shirt, they might be in your position. So, and in the midst of all that, you're trying to develop as a human being. Like I say, for me, moving away when I was 15 was, a big shock to the system. So you got to learn to swim pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's a lot of transitions going on. So obviously you went through the academy system, and then at West Brom, and then you were released at, was it under 18s? Was it pro contract?
Yeah. So when they decide on a pro contract, that's when they kept 1 on out of 7, I think it was.
Okay.
So
what was the because obviously you've got the scholarship period, which when you're full time, and then you've got the pro contract, like the scholarship where you're working towards a pro contract. What is the difference in like the pressures of like trying to earn your scholarship and then trying to earn your contract?
Yeah, it's tough, but like I say, everyone's fighting for something. So it doesn't matter whether you're trying to get a contract at 29 or you're over 30 and you're on a 1-year deal and that expires and you've got to try and get another one. That's probably the same pressure, if not more, because you're older, you've got bills to pay, you've got family, versus you're 16, 17 trying to find a way up the ladder. It's the same kind of toughness. Everyone's, like I say, everyone's kind of fighting for that. So it certainly shapes you as a person in terms of the resilience that not just me but like a lot of footballers and sports people have to make it at a decent level. So
obviously moving a little bit forward, you were at a non-league side,
Ilkeston Town.
Yeah. How was that experience of going from academy to non-league, in terms of like, that must have been a big change up in culture, facilities, teammates. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was a mad period for me. I had a lot going on, like in my personal life. Like, unfortunately, I lost my mum when I was 18.
My condolences.
And then obviously I got released from the academy, went to play part-time, and the Ilkeston was, I was living in Newcastle and travelling to Ilkeston Town, which is 4 hours.
Gosh.
And it was part-time football. So I was going every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. I was driving 4 hours from Newcastle to go to training, train for an hour and a half, and then drive 4 hours back. And I did that for like the whole season, which when you think about it now is absolutely crazy.
I think, you know what it is, I think when we're chasing whatever goal, we're always doing a madness to achieve it. And then when you look back on it, you'll be like, I did that, but it was for the greater good, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think like touching on what we said in terms of like not thinking about things too much, that was definitely me kind of saying, this is going to be potentially my last chance, in terms of I was 18, so I played non-league, and it was getting to the point where I was like, if I don't get back now, or do you know what I mean? So there was a lot kind of, like say, going on like off the pitch, but to drive 4 hours to go to training for a whole season is ridiculous. But at the end of that season, it, like you say, it paid off, definitely.
100%. So obviously through there, you got you got offered a 1-year contract at Derby County.
Yeah.
So what was that process like? And being spotted in non-league and then getting that professional contract you were working towards when you were younger?
Yeah, no, it was like, I still remember it now. Today I jumped 6 divisions to go and sign for Derby, and I think it's not something, you don't see it every day. It's unheard of. I still to this day don't really know how it happened, to be honest. Like, I was playing well, but it was like Unibond Premier Division, I think, or something like that. So it was a case of, I don't really know why the Derby coaching team were even there or watching, but yeah, like I say, it came about, and my agent told me about it at the time, and it was I didn't believe him, obviously, and it was all happened very quick. Obviously, I was absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, talk me through that feeling when you got that news. Like,
yeah, it was probably, it's definitely up there, probably the best feeling I've had in football, in terms of, you know, obviously I've been lucky to play and win at Wembley 3 times, and which was unbelievable. But yeah, like I say, I think from the journey that I'd been on, in terms of travelling 4 hours to get to training, and then the stuff off the pitch, to then get an opportunity where you go into an absolutely massive club like Derby, was really good.
So to touch a little bit on something personal, I'm not going to dive in too deep, but how important was football for you when you were going through the things you were going through?
Probably up until, you know, when I was at West Brom, like I say, I was very homesick at the time anyway, so I was kind of not in the right mentality then, even though I was still close to getting a contract, or a professional contract, like that's what they told us anyway. But I think it was more kind of after I got released, and after what happened. Like I say, it was to travel that far to go and play football. It didn't make sense, but I was doing it. And then when it happened, I thought, you know, that was the sacrifice I needed to make to then get back into the full-time game, if that makes sense, which I always look back at that time and think that was kind of my reward for driving all them miles and putting the effort into then getting back into the game really with Derby.
100%. So obviously I'm in the unique position to be able to talk to someone that played football professionally. What was that like when you compared going through the academy and then doing your thing in non-league to a first team environment? What was a first team environment like?
Yeah, totally different, but it was kind of you're at a point where, again, similar to when you're in the youth team, you don't have time to, you know, be nervous or not be confident or not show up. You've just got to go straight in. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I still remember the first week at Derby, and it was, you know, very much like that as well. You know, playing for Ilkeston was in front of about 30 people, and then to make my debut at Pride Park for Derby in front of 32,000 was, you know, mental on the first day of the season.
Surreal. And obviously there was a lot of obviously from Derby there was a lot of appearances and a lot of moves from around different clubs up and down the country. So first of all, what I want to ask a little bit was how was that transition like? So you played at Derby and you got your next move. How was that transition from club to club? What was it like mentally? What was it like operationally? Like,
yeah, I mean, I still had a year left at Derby, to be fair, but it just got to a point where I needed to play games. And yeah, if it was to happen again, or if it was somebody that I knew, I wouldn't be advising them to drop down to League Two to sign for Rotherham when they had a year left at a Championship club. So it's something that I wouldn't advise now, but. Yeah, I suppose you could say it worked out. The first year at Rotherham was an absolute nightmare, but after that, it was a really, really good experience.
Yeah, so like with Rotherham, you went up via the playoffs, and you went to the playoff finals 3 times as well. So I was watching the clip where you scored your penalty in the penalty shootout.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Like, so I'll try to go as deep as I can, but like to be ready more than to come in ignorant.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's talk about the your time at Rotherham, building up to that playoffs final. So you said it was a bit disastrous. What was difficult at that point?
So the manager signed me, and I played in every pre-season game, and I was his first signing. So I was thinking, I've dropped out. Obviously, it just makes sense. I've dropped down from Derby. I'm gonna play. And then first game of the season, I was on the bench, and I didn't really know why. He didn't say anything to me, and it just kind of went like that for the next month. By the end of August, I was out the squad, and from August to the end of January, I wasn't in one squad.
Wow.
And he didn't give me a reason why. He didn't speak to me. He didn't, he didn't do anything. It was just a case of I was out the squad, even to the point where, I was getting told to train on my own, train with a fitness coach, like completely, separated me from the first team, which happens all over the country in different clubs. So yeah, it was a tough 6 months. Got to end of January and he called me into his office. I was thinking he was gonna just say, listen, like, get yourself a club, but he turned around and said, I need you to play now, for me.
Wow.
After all that time, which is mental. So yeah, and then he brought me back in on the first game. I ended up scoring like after 60 minutes, and then he got sacked like a month later. And then the new manager, Steve Evans, came in, who, had all of his trust and loved me basically, which was kind of the start of my career, really.
How difficult was that lack of communication from the manager when it wasn't going well?
Yeah, it's like I say, it happens up and down the country at every football club. It's not unusual. Like, players know that it happens. But at the same time, it doesn't really make it right. It doesn't really make it, professional at all. And I always say, like, if a manager has a decision, that's his decision. A player can't change that, or he can't affect it. But, at least tell the player exactly what you're thinking. If you're the manager of a football club, I can't, I can speak to you, but I'm not going to change your mind. So, but to completely ignore players or separate them is, I don't know, just doesn't. I just don't see the point in it, to be honest. But there's a lot of egos in football, like, as you know. So, especially in managers. So, and then further on, like, what's it like when you do go through a managerial change, particularly mid-season? How is that like in terms of the culture in the dressing room and how you do things? Yeah, I mean, in terms of the dressing room, it's kind of a clean slate for everyone. So for me, when he left, I was delighted because he'd absolutely sacked me off for the 6 months. And I was not panicking, but I was thinking, I've just left the Championship club with a year left. I'm now not playing in League Two level. People are going to think, I'm not good enough, or whatever they were going to think. So yeah, for me, I was looking forward to the new manager coming in, but it depends, where you're at as a player. Like, if the manager likes you, if you're playing, it brings uncertainty for the next manager coming in.
And obviously, you was it that same season you guys went to the playoffs, or was it the following season?
Yeah, so Steve Evans came in, I finished the last couple of games, and then the next season after that, the League Two season, was, we were up there as favourites to get promoted, which we did. We finished second or third, I think, in League Two. And for me, obviously, that was a good season because I played every year. It was the following season that's when it got like crazy in terms of, we just got promoted. We weren't expected to then get promoted again. Obviously, we had a really good season, got to the playoffs, and that was the playoff final at Wembley.
Yeah, the one that went to penalties. So is this was to go up from League Two to League One, or from League?
No, so we got promoted from League Two to League One, and then we got to the playoff final in League One, and that was to go at the Championship. So we did back to back. Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. That's always such a mean feat, like back to back. And obviously, I'm trying to keep the football questions like not. I'm trying to keep it more general than just specifically football. But was there like from first promotion to second promotion? Was there like a big overhaul, or did things kind of stay the same?
Yeah, I think in the League Two season there was a lot of players. Certainly in the first half of the season, and then kind of towards the back end, he got a settled side, and those 6 or 7 then went into League One, and he just added like quality around them. So yeah, we all knew each other. Obviously, we'd had success getting promoted from League Two, and then yeah, the momentum just carried on into League One, and yeah, that's probably the most enjoyable season of football I've had.
So just before we move on from your career in England, because I do really want to talk about Dubai and what you're doing here, is obviously your other 2 experiences at Wembley and who they were with and how that was.
Yeah, so the other 2 ones were Tranmere Rovers. I was on loan from Preston North End. Obviously, to win at Wembley was a great experience. And the third time was with Morecambe Football Club. Again, another good experience. I didn't actually play in that one, but yeah, the Rotherham one at the League One final was in the playoff final was
Top.
Yeah, that was the best one for me. Yeah.
Okay, and just to wrap up your English football career, what was like obviously one of your best moments, getting your first contract and the playoff final. What was like one of the most challenging moments aside from what you were saying at the start of Rotherham?
Yeah, probably that, to be honest. Like, and it happened more towards the end in terms of obviously Ilkeston driving all that way. The first season at Rotherham, it happened again at Preston North End. So yeah, I think those 3 things.
Yeah.
When you're not playing, like every footballer hates it, especially when there's no reason as to why. So it's even more frustrating. So yeah, those were the 3 toughest periods, definitely.
And it goes back to that communication aspect, but unfortunately it's a commonality throughout the game. And
yeah.
So at what point, so obviously I wanted to touch on your career in back in England, but I didn't want it to be all about your career in England.
Yeah.
So at what point did you decide or feel that you needed a fresh start?
Yeah, I mean, it was Altrincham. That was my last club in England, and it was just I dropped down the first season again. I was like playing, not really playing, but yeah, I knew at the end of the first season at Altrincham that I wanted to. I knew, like for most players, the contract gets shorter, the money gets less, and you're not going to play forever. And I just thought, if I stay here, I'm going to have to go further down. And it's not so much the football on the pitch; it's more of everything that goes off it in terms of when you drop down to those leagues. There's players and managers and coaches that have got egos which they shouldn't have, and it's a very strange place. Certainly for someone who's played, in the Championship League One, to then go to those levels without sounding big-headed, but it's a different mentality down there. And for me, at that point in my career, I was just like, I need to get out of here, basically.
Okay, so how did the opportunity to come to Dubai come about?
So we had a player on loan from Fleetwood Town. He was at Altrincham, and he told me about Fleetwood United in Dubai. And like I say, I'd been trying to get out here for about a year before that. And then I, heard about this opportunity, and that was it. I spoke to the sporting director, James Ward, and yeah, that was it. Made the move.
Okay, and you know what? How did the change in culture? What was the change in culture like, both like on the pitch and off the pitch? Was it really similar? Were there things that were really different? How was that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the weather plays a massive part, especially when you've got my colour, hair and skin. It's not a place for gingers to be coming, really. But yeah, that was a massive part, getting fit. And obviously the standard of football is not the same in the UK, but I was just at a part where I wanted to enjoy it again. I hated the last 2 years in England, and it was just at a point where I wanted to enjoy it. So yeah, it was the perfect time for me at my career, and like I say, made the jump, and it was unbelievable.
What's brought that enjoyment back to you coming to Dubai?
I think, like you say, the different cultures. Like in England, you get this. I'd been doing it for 15 years. It's the same kind of dressing room banter, the same managers saying the same cliche team talks. Like obviously the politics. Like it changed a lot from when I first started, kind of at Derby, where it was the end of the old school era, and then towards the back end where, you've got all the lads just sitting on their phones, like no one really goes out, like all the managers want runners and dogs who can cover a certain amount of distance as opposed to passes completed. And yeah, the game just completely changed. And for me, it's, I just needed to get out. So coming here with we had 19 different nationalities at Fleetwood United. And
wow.
It was just a completely new experience in an unbelievable city, which, I absolutely loved.
And obviously, from Fleetwood United, you went to, was it straight to Precision?
Yeah. We won the league with Fleetwood, the UA second division, and then went to join Precision at the start of last season. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me about that, because you were saying how Precision, I think off camera you were saying this, or on this, it's all one big blur to me at this point. But you said Precision was a bit unique the way they do things, or
yeah, I mean they're outside of the top league here in Dubai. They've got the best. The facility, everyone knows Precision. Everyone, they've got a unbelievable restaurant and setup in terms of the 4G wellness center, the tech center underneath. So it's a facility that everybody recognises. And the players that they signed, obviously a lot of Premier League and EFL players. I think there was 6 of us there at one time, which,
wow.
Like I say, to get that amount of players, and the players with reputations like Matt Loughton and Ravel Morrison, Harry Arter, like players who've been in the Premier League. It's an unusual, interesting story.
That's it. Just, I feel like coming down here to play football, that just must be such an amazing experience. What's something you learned about football coming here that you didn't come across your whole life before?
What a question that is. I think when you come here, or I guess everyone's in a bubble in England and they just know Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two. I think I've realised coming here, football is such a massive game, and there's so many players who are desperate for opportunities, and the things that they'll do for football is they'll go above and beyond to try and sign a contract or impress or, show up for a game or training session. So I guess kind of seeing the rest of the world and what football means to loads of different players and cultures has been a big eye-opener for me.
How would you compare the English culture, football culture you grew up in, compared to the Emirati football culture, the Dubai? I'm sure it's different in each club, but in your experience, how would you compare those two football cultures?
I think in England, certainly when I started, like I said, I mean it's still competitive now, but it was tough times. Back in the day, everyone's fighting to get them contracts, and like I say, it molds the type of person you are. You got to be resilient. You got to get your head down and graft, and it's gritty. And all the times at 14, 15 in academy games, it was a scrap. Everyone was fighting, so competitive. Whereas in Dubai, it's a lovely place to live, and there's a lot of wealthy people here. So the mentality of the English, the grittiness in terms of having to make it, and it's not an option, compared to here in Dubai with some of the mentalities here, it's a lot different.
Was there anything that came as a surprise to you coming to Dubai, both football and non-football, whichever comes to mind?
No, I don't think so. Like I say, the weather's obviously a big one, and the standard of football was actually better than what I expected it to be. So, it's just the whole football pyramid here in general. I didn't have a clue it was here until someone told me about it. So, it's a fascinating, interesting place basically for football.
Okay, so let's move in a little bit. Obviously, congratulations, you won the league, the second division with Precision this year. What was that experience like? experiencing more success in Dubai?
Yeah, sorry. So we won that with Fleetwood, the second division.
Fleetwood?
Yeah, so that was the last season. Yeah, my first year.
Okay, I'm getting mixed up with Post.
There's a lot of clubs and changes. So, but yeah, that was unbelievable. A really good experience. Probably one of the best of my career. So yeah.
So let's move forward to what you're trying to build and what you're trying to do and your mission with it. And I'll let you take the floor.
Yeah, no. So obviously, I know we touched on it the other day at the event, and as you can imagine, there's a lot of people who are, on the ground out here. Like whether you're a manager or a player, you get so many messages from players all around the world asking for opportunities. So I've been here 2 years now, and it was a case of receiving those messages, but without actually knowing how to help them. There's a lot of scammers here, a lot of agents here who take advantage of players from all over the world. So the point of the UAE Football Network, which is what I've launched, is firstly an online platform with all of the information that players can access. All of this information has been put together by myself from first-hand experience of living and playing football here. So it's something that they can relate to from a player's point of view. But then also the opportunities to come here and actually play and get a genuine pathway into UAE football with my guidance and support when they get here. So it's basically a point of contact, and for any player to be rest assured that from the moment they are in their house doing the online platform to the second they come onto the pitch here, that I'll give them the best opportunity as I can to try and get them a team here.
And what kind of help do you wish you had when you first came to Dubai?
Yeah, there's a lot to it in terms of things that players don't even recognise, like visas and Emirates IDs. A lot of those things which are crucially important here because you can't live in Dubai without them. So all those types of things, the property market, how it works, obviously the structure of the football out here in terms of the leagues, and the agents and scammers is a massive one. Getting the correct information or speaking to people that you can trust. So there's so much to it. It doesn't take 2 minutes, which is why it's, I believe what I've kind of launched is crucially important for players, especially coming from myself who's actually done it.
Yeah, especially the fact that you're a player yourself. I think if I was just a suited and booted agent saying, yeah, I can come to Dubai, it's probably a bit more sketchier to try and to know if you can trust someone like that compared to a player that's playing in the place that you're being promised or not being promised, but being introduced to, sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Like saying, there's a lot of that here in Dubai. So basically, I'm just trying to provide a genuine pathway and platform for players, who want to play football in Dubai.
And then in turn, probably in the long run, not that that's what the aim of this was, but you could probably end up widening the pool of talent in Dubai if more players are coming down to play here.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it was a small idea which I thought is going to help players, and to be honest, it's turned into a bit of a monster the last kind of month. The amount of players that I've spoken to, and which is good, like speaking to players from all over the world. But there's a lot of different ways that I can take it, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, it's just good to know that you can speak to those players all on different journeys like ours, different stories, and they can be rest assured that they can trust me and I'll help them.
How would you define your football journey?
What a question that is. I mean, I've had to be very, very resilient. The mental strength, the mental toughness is what shaped my career. Without it, I wouldn't be the player or the person that I am today. So, yeah, it's a journey that I'm proud of. Of course, there's things that I would change in terms of, my attitude maybe when I was a little bit younger. But, it's certainly led me to the point where I'm at today where, like you say, the milestones that I've had, the experiences that I've had and the clubs that I've played for have been unbelievable. But, yeah, the most important thing which shaped me was the mental strength, mental toughness and resilience to get here.
So I've got 2 more questions that I want to ask you before we wrap it up. First one is, I told someone that I met at the event that I was going to be talking to you if they wanted me to, if they wanted to ask me to ask you a question, and it was, how do you balance the football and the social life kind of balance in Dubai?
Yeah, I think when you first get here, that's not the toughest period, but you get sucked into the lifestyle straight away. It's very social. It's very outgoing. There's a lot of events kind of going on, which you can get dragged into. Having been here 2 years now, I know I'm over that now. So obviously it's still great to live here. There's so many things to do, but yeah, I'm kind of on the working hard road at the minute. So,
and this is the kind of stuff that you can support the players that contact you through the network, or the kind of advice you can give. I mean,
100%. I mean, it's not just football advice. Like I say, it's visas, accommodation. If they've got kids, like nursery, schools, renting a car, restaurants.
That's amazing.
The whole kind of ecosystem of moving to Dubai from start to finish, I can help.
And then my other question is, what advice would you give to young footballers, young athletes that are on the journey to try and make it and strive for as high as they can?
Good question as well.
I'm on fire today, innit?
Yeah, no,
I'm
very
joking.
The cliche one is work hard, but I'd say the important one for me is show your personality. That's a big one for me. In terms of, there's so many footballers out there. How are you going to be different from the person next to you, like left or right? And yeah, I'd say that is just show your character. How are you going to stand out? How are you going to be different? And certainly in the early days, you've got to be addicted to it. You've got to sacrifice, like the drive into Ilkeston from Newcastle was mine. Like, I'm not saying everyone has to do that, but you've got to want it enough. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, each journey is unique, and just to wrap it up, just a little bit. I start on reflection, I end on reflection. Is, what do you feel you've gained or haven't gained or learned having this conversation with me today?
It's probably, I've learned to appreciate kind of what I've done in my football career. It's something that some players look back, some players just don't think about it at all, and I'm probably one of them where before I moved to Dubai, I was constantly looking back and thinking, I wish I could have done this, I wish I should have done that. Whereas now I'm kind of at peace with what happened in England because I'm enjoying it so much out here. So, like you say, definitely a reflective conversation.
Okay. So as we wrap up, I'll put your socials on, maybe in the edit. Let's see how my skills are. I'll put your stuff on the description as well. If you do want to play football in Dubai, Ben is your guy. He'll show you the ways, show you the path. And yeah, Ben, thank you so much for coming on. I think this has been a really great and insightful conversation. So yes, people, another episode in Dubai wrapped up. Life in sport. Like, subscribe, comment, and see you on the next one.